I expect great graphic tees from Paul.
Well, I've got this one from the Alberta Ghostbusters. Actually, they sent me a personalized T-shirt,
Oh
which is
my
really great.
gosh,
And they just won an
amazing.
award, the Northern Lights Award, because of their charitable contributions to the COVID relief fund in Alberta. They actually went out. They have a number of them have a bunch of 3D printers, and they printed out thousands of the little ear savers for all the frontline
Yeah.
workers. Yeah, so
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, it's incredible.
That's great. And Jean, I've loved seeing all your different masks that you've been buying, and you've
Oh,
been
thanks. Yeah,
they've been
there's even
great.
more. I'm just so not. I'm not very good at the whole selfies, and I just like. There's even more. There's a lot of. When the pandemic started, I spent a lot of. I basically bought masks from every designer who'd loaned me a dress, because they were all making masks. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So that
that's
was
amazing.
yeah.
So how has both of your pandemic been going? I know, Jean, you had a great garden in your backyard. I'm very jealous.
Yeah, the patio garden went well. I for one have mostly Netflix dropped a lot of Korean television, and I started watching, and then I haven't studied or used my Korean in about 30 years extensively, so I just have been going down this deep hole of regaining all my Korean and ordering new textbooks. And I found there's an online resource called Talk to Me in Korean that has like podcast lessons that are free and all that stuff. And I've been buying their books. And so, yeah, it's kind of cool. I've talked to my parents in Korean now on the phone. They find it amusing and heartening. And then I've started sending my dad emails in Korean and then pestering him to give me corrections. But so far, so good. My goal is to be fluent by the end of the quarantine, and to, as soon as it's possible, to travel to go and spend some time in Korea doing what I want, because I've never been able to do what I want when I was in Korea before.
Oh, that's amazing. And Paul, you had like a little show come out, no big deal.
Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. It's nice to finally be able to talk about it in
Right.
public, which is great. A very small circle of friends kind of knew about it, but yeah, I mean, just it's hard to believe that I shot the one episode like a year ago, and then the other one earlier this year, because ever since the pandemics, the lockdown started, it feels like it's been 10 years in some ways, right? So it's like, oh, okay. But that being said, I mean, I have to say my family personally, we've been very, very fortunate. COVID has not affected us directly in terms of people that we know getting it. My family is healthy. My kids are safe and healthy. My wife is healthy. My dog is healthy. Like we're all, I'm surrounded by the people I love the most. And when I'm not working, I'm usually just at home, and I'm in my basement, just getting more collectibles and learning new skills. During the beginning of pandemic, my youngest, and he suggested I start a YouTube channel. So I've been, learning the ins and outs of that, and just having a really, really good time with it. So yeah, I'm trying to take the most positives I can about this sort of enforced separation from other people. But it's been going really well for us so far. I'm very thankful for that. But I do miss the contact, and I do miss, most of all, for example, giving Jean a big hug when we're on
Oh
set at
man.
the end of the day, and shaking people's hands on set and seeing their smiling faces instead of just their eyes. Um, and so that's been a big adjustment, and I think everybody's sort of feeling that fatigue. But we all go on as best as we can, and we know that you know can't go on forever, and it's not going to. So there is that hope.
Exactly. I was going to say there's a lot of great hugs on screen in Kim's Convenience.
Mhm. Yeah, actually, when we were back on set, about in the first week, Paul gave me a great big bear hug, and I've been in self-isolation with my son, who's 17, and at 17, you don't give big bear hugs to your mom. It's just not cool. And my parents are 90, and they're across town and have basically been in a really strict sort of isolation. So there's no hugs there. So Paul gave me a great big bear hug. And even thinking about it now, I'm starting to tear up. But it was such a shock to be hugged like that I started to tear up. I was like, you guys, we gotta, I was, it took a while to sort of, my sensitivity to being touched could come down because it just was so long since I'd been hugged like that. It felt great, but it was like, oh my God, it's too much.
Sorry.
So for fans, tell them what's coming up on a new season of Kim's Convenience.
Oh, wow. It's a continuation of the storylines. One of the byproducts of being being in lockdown and having to physically distance, the focus has been shifted more towards the family, to keep the number of, sorry, my dog is pushing me, the number of
Oh, hi.
keep the number of actors who are visiting our set at a minimum. Are you done? Dude, there's all the sofa. Sorry, please settle. And so we've refocused back in on the family, which has been a real boon for our characters. It's really nice to see us sort of connect. And we spoke about this earlier on, where it is sort of a going back to the source material and what made the show really successful as a play is the focus on family and the love within. So you'll see a lot more of that. Yeah, again, the show is still devastatingly funny.
Yes.
And it's hard to separate having shot during the pandemic and the end result, because in some ways it seems like it was so long ago. But it's tempered by the fact that we shot season 5 in the midst of a global pandemic, the worst the world has seen in 100 years, and we did it without a single illness, without missing a day. And it's heartening to see how everybody worked that extra bit to make it work. And when you see it on the screen, you would never know that we filmed during that time, that we all had masks on up until the last second, that we were all doing extra. It's that flawless sort of, or seamless transition into that lovely realm of Kim's Convenience, where it is, in essence, a bit of an escape from the harshness of the world sometimes. And it's almost like a healing salve. And I think season 5, while there are some heavier issues that we do deal with that we're going to be talking about, but it really is still that salve and that comfort that families and viewers have come to expect and enjoy.
Mhm. So other than Paul's hugs, what do you like best about working with each other?
Oh, Paul and I have known each other for a very long time. You know, we knew each other. I met Paul just shortly after we finished college,
I
and
had hair.
and he had hair. Yeah, we but it's like 25 years now, right? Yeah. So we've known each other a very long time, and and it's just such a pleasure to work with Paul because of that history, but also because he's just a great guy and he's super talented. But there's a shorthand, that you would expect in a marriage, and it works. Yeah. Yeah. Paul and I really are, we
An old
go
married
back so long.
couple.
We are an old married.
There's a great chemistry that is there that
Yeah.
only comes from a friendship that spans for that long. And Jeannie, she's taught me so much, because like she said, I met her, I was fresh out of college, big, just dumb kid who didn't know his head from a hole in the snow. And she took me under her wing, and she like many other younger Asian performers or writers or directors, took me under her wing, and she was a great mentor, and we became peers and now close friends. And what Jeannie brings is an incredible amount of passion and talent. She is so intelligent. She's got keen insight, despite my protestations to the opposing that. But that's Jeannie. No, I'm gonna heap all this praise on you, Jean, because you don't get enough of it. Too bad.
I'm getting
No,
embarrassed.
don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. But it is. I mean, Jeannie brings it, and I consider myself so lucky to have made her acquaintance all those years ago, and to have become friends. And now we've got this wonderful chemistry on set, and it's totally believable. And that's not something you can just fabricate. Um, but on the other hand, it's effortless to act with her, because there is a shorthand, and we know, and I know what she's thinking. She knows what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
and we
And
play.
common history.
Yeah,
Common history. And all those years doing the play.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
there's also a sense of play,
yeah.
because there's little ways, like we know each other. There are times where it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you a bit of a gushy, and she's gonna do the same to me, and we threw each other little curveballs, but really great ways that actually married couples would do to sort of like play around with each other, and it's just that's a treat. That's a
There's
treat,
a
man.
lot of trust, because we both know that if one of us wants to try something new, we don't it'll just, the other will be right along. We're yeah.
It's like a great
Aw.
dancing couple.
Yeah.
It's like we're dancing, right?
Mm. And they're not here, so we can talk about them. What do you like best about working with Andrew, Simu, and Andrea?
Oh, they're all lovely. They're all really lovely. I love working with, well, I get to work most with Andrea outside of Paul, and this season more. So like they're, one of the things I was sort of asking for a lot was like, can I have more scenes with Andrea, please? She's so, she's just such a brilliant talent, and she's such a sweet gal, and I love hanging out with her, and I love acting with her. She's there. She's capable of just incredible vulnerability, which just ramps up a scene. Simu, same thing. And with Simu, it's more that, I guess the thing with Simu, especially this season, was just watching his discipline, because he came back from Australia, and then all the scenes from every episode up to that we'd shot up to that point that he was in was put aside. So once he landed, it was like boom, 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 boom through every episode he was in every day for I don't know how many days in a row.
Like
And
8 or 9 days.
8 or 9 days in a row, that would have broken me. Like I would have been a weeping mess by the end of day 4. No, it's no joke. I would have been like literally weeping. Like I can't have my brain can't take. He was so on top of it. And Andrew Phung is just he's just such a great guy. He comes in with such positivity. He's the guy who will just make sure that the team goes all the way full speed and have a good time and laugh all the way there. So we're really fortunate with the ensemble that we have. We're really, really fortunate that everybody is so talented, but also so kind and so kind-hearted and so devoted. That's yeah. And Paul, obviously, was our number one. I mean, yeah, we're really, really lucky to have Paul as our number one, as our patriarch, but and as our sort of our title, our leader. And yeah, you create this space that's big enough for everybody, where we're all supported and trusted. And I'm really, really, really proud of you, buddy.
Oh,
I'm really proud of you, Paul.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, so this show has fans worldwide. People love this show. People connect with this show, no matter what their background. So tell me about some of the fan reactions that have stayed with you.
Oh.
One of the common ones that I love all the time is when people from all over the world tune in and they say, "That's my family." And we watch it as a family, and they keep watching the episodes over and over again. And especially lately, with all that's been going on in the world, people have wanted that sort of healing power of the show, where it is about family, it is about love, it is a reminder of these times, these things that we hold sacred, uh, and we need for our own comfort. I love that in general. That's the overall vibe that I get from all over the world, and it always really, really amazes me that people take the effort to sort of track us down and find us on social media and leave those messages. It's really heartening. And the fact that they always say, "Oh, I'm sorry to bother you," and it's never a bother. When somebody reaches out and says, "We love your work, we love the show," it's never ever a bother. Nobody ever gets tired of hearing that, and it means so much to know that we are connecting in that way with so many people. It literally is a little show that could, and for it to sort of blossom the way it has internationally, it's I don't know. I feel it's like Cinderella at the ball. you put something out there, and it just turns into something lovely, and it just grows and blossoms. It's unbelievably gratifying.